Toss to White. He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl!
Welcome to Patriots Touchback Podcast.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome on back to the Patriots Touchback Podcast, Season 3, Episode 18. We are here for Week 3 preview. And it is, of course, a rivalry which we used to love back in the day. Now the teams are a shell of what they once used to be. It is, of course, we're facing the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I am delighted tonight to have as our guest of honor, Mark Hanson on, who is a contributor to the UK Steelers podcast. Big up, Mark. How are we doing this evening?
Yeah, all grand. Thank you very much for having me on. I'm very excited to chat about this game between, two once great franchises.
The only sort of parallel I can actually find with this is what used to be, and I'll use another sport for this, is when it was Arsenal Man United. That's the best sort of comparison I can use for it, really.
He's only saying that because he's an Arsenal fan.
Oh, I didn't know he was. Anyway, Mark's link to his Twitter account is down in the description below, and also UK Steelers Pods link is in the description below, guys. So make sure you check them out as well. Make sure you follow them on Spotify and on all the other social media platforms you'll find them, because the website is there. And make sure you sub a like and hit the subscribe button to them. And we're at it. Grog Spike this subscribe button to this channel. Hit the like button. And make sure you follow us on our social media platforms and the podcast as well. Mark, we usually start off with getting the opponent's point of view across first regarding obviously with the Steelers in this case. So talk to us about what has happened over the last 2 weeks, because right now you're sitting at 1-1. It's not the be all and end all. One game you looked absolutely bloody amazing at, and then the following week it kind of went south.
Yes. So I mean, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. I think the Jets game, I don't know if amazing might be stretching it somewhat, because quite frankly, the defense has been terrible for 2 weeks. It's been really, really bad. We're top of the rankings of missed tackles in the league. It's not the Steelers defense of however long now, although it feels like it has been for the last couple of years or so at least. It's just been a little bit of a turgid effort from us defensively. But, that Jets game, offense was really, really strong. Aaron Rodgers looked pretty damn good in that game. Not too bad, not too shabby at all. It was great to just see good quarterback work for the first time since Ben retired, basically. So, and then obviously, this past week it was a really rough going of it. We were still in it until a really, really horrible rookie error from Caleb Johnson leads the Seahawks to go 10 points up, and we never really recovered from that. And Rodgers didn't have the best game in the world, but it's hard to put any of it really on him. When his receivers are tipping the ball to the other team in the end zone, and it was a bit of a rough showing. So it's been up and down for sure, particularly on the offensive side. But I'm just very worried about what our defense, our supposedly historic defense, according to our own head coach, has done over these first 2 weeks.
Is the injuries that you are sustaining a little bit? Obviously, one guy in particular, Alex Highsmith, from what I'm gathering, looks like he's going to be ruled out for this game. That's a big, big loss, considering, TJ Watt is TJ Watt at the end of the day, but you still need a second good edge to, take some pressure off him in a certain way. What are your thoughts going into the game, knowing that obviously Highsmith is going to be out?
It's going to be tough, obviously. TJ is TJ, but TJ hasn't quite been TJ in the opening. Well, at the back end of last season as well. Like, he's just been a click behind what we're used to with him. I mean, he's still generating a lot of pressure, but he's not getting home as much as we would like him to, and how much he normally does. So, and obviously, now with Highsmith out, it's going to be very much a big focus on TJ to block him out of this. I mean, he was triple teamed at one point against the Seahawks, so they were definitely trying to still. They know he's still a threat. You can't really leave the man alone, but Yeah, it's been a rough start for him, but I mean, I'm a big Nick Herbig fan. I think he'll step in really well. He's kind of a mini TJ. Against the run might be a bit trickier, but then that's where we've got Jack Sawyer in this draft as well to kind of try and stop that. And he had a half decent showing against the Seahawks, a little bit better than his first week. But yeah, it's an obvious blow to lose Highsmith, but I've got faith in that edge depth that they will kind of step up and hopefully show a little bit more juice that we really, really need.
I want to take you.
Go on, Karl. Go on. I was going to say you mentioned obviously the defense has been struggling the first 2 weeks of the season. In what phase in particular do you think has been the real weakness? Because you look at that defensive side of the ball, and there's plenty of recognizable names on it, and the Steelers have always had a formidable defense. So what is unraveling on that side of the ball at the moment to make them look like this?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of finger pointing at the moment, and I think coaching is a massive part of it. I don't think a lot of people are particularly happy with our defensive coordinator, Terrell Austin. I don't think people have been for the last couple of years, and other people will argue that it's Tomlin who's actually running the defense. Well, why don't we prove it by getting Terrell Austin out of town and seeing if that's the case? But yeah, I mean, that hasn't helped. But I mean, it's just the simple things. As I say, the missed tackle rate is just absurd, like absolutely insane. I mean, bottom of the league in missed tackles is just awful. And there's secondary miscommunication still. You've got one Thornhill coming out today saying that it was the home crowd noise that was hindering the communication, which you don't want to say that. Come on, that's not ideal. Yeah, it just seems to be a mismatch of things. And I mean, Peyton Wilson, the linebacker, is just getting absolutely obliterated left, right, and center. He's not having a great start at all. Keanu Benton, who's like one of my favorite players, like I absolutely love Benton, but he's had a rough couple of games. Nose tackle is not his strong position. I think this is a problem as well. We seem to be with injuries mounting up and what have you, we seem to be just mismatching players into different areas. I mean, Patrick Queen was basically a D lineman at some point in the Seahawks game. Like, we can't be having that. And it's not working out in the way. So there's just these little different bits and bobs that are just, snowballing into a really bad effect on this defense.
What's your
touch on the... No, I'll let you go first next. I'll go after you. Go on, because I went first last time.
Okay. Obviously with Justin Fields going over to the Jets, you need a new QB, and the rumors and rumblings of Aaron Rodgers coming was quite high. Let's put it that way. You've ended up getting Rodgers in. What was your initial reaction to him being a Steeler, and what's your current reaction is after what you've seen him over the last 2 games?
I didn't like it initially. I've never been, well, I say never. I'm obviously a big fan of the player. The player in his heyday is he's an MVP for a reason. He's an absolutely fantastic QB. Peak Aaron Rodgers was just otherworldly. But I wasn't a fan of it because you'd seen the play from last season with the Jets coming off the Achilles tear, and it's just there were massive worries about whether he still has it or not, and then you've got the character concerns on top of that. I mean, the man didn't get arrested for anything. It's just he's not a particularly likable character. But I think over the course of the preseason, he's said the right things, he's done the right things, and again, last week was a bit rough and it's still early days, but I mean, that first week kind of showed exactly what Aaron Rodgers could still be. And I'm far more encouraged now with what we have at quarterback with Aaron Rodgers than what I was initially thinking was going to happen when he first came in.
I'll piggyback this question first and then move on to the one I was going to ask a second ago. What do you, in your honest opinion, feel like the longevity is and the kind of long-term plan? Because you've got a 41-year-old quarterback, you've got Mason Rudolph, who's an adequate backup, and then Will Howard was obviously a late round draft pick. It seems like everyone expected you to go in a different direction at times at the quarterback position, and then went with probably what was the obvious move. But I don't know how much longer Rodgers has got. I mean, where do you see it going? Because I don't think unless you make a trade up, you're ever going to be in a position to pick inside the top 10 because the defense always keeps you competitive every year.
Yeah, it will be tricky. But I mean, we do have a potential to have 12 draft picks next year. It's looking like a bit of a stacked lineup of draft picks for us next year. Again, to move up into that sort of echelon, we're probably going to be needing to spend some 2027 capital as well. This is Aaron Rodgers last season. He has said as much, and I kind of believe him on it. I do think that he is genuine when he says that this is it for him. Whether or not he maybe makes it to an AFC championship, he's probably not going to, but I'm just saying if he did, and fell short there, would he maybe consider going on another year? Maybe, but I think otherwise, I think it's definitely his last year. So I mean, I really like Will Howard coming out of college, but I mean, there's a reason he's a 6th round pick, I think he was. I don't think he's going to be the future of the franchise. So I do think there will be a look at the draft QBs. We have been scouting a lot of QBs that are supposed to be coming out next year. Very excited about the fact we're looking at John Mateer out of Oklahoma because he's looked fabulous this opening few games. But yeah, obviously, it is going to be because there's a lot of teams as well who have like a couple of first round picks. I mean, look at Cleveland. They've got a couple of first round picks next year. And I mean, I know they've got 20 odd quarterbacks as it is, but they may still want to dip their toe in if there's one that they particularly like out of this class. So I think with the draft being in Pittsburgh next year as well, I mean, first round QB, possible franchise future being drafted in the town. Like it feels like it should be that, but we'll see. As I say, I don't expect Aaron Rodgers to last beyond this season.
And just sticking with your additions in the offseason, obviously you made quite a lot, particularly on the back end. Obviously brought in Darius Slay and a few other defensive backs as well. The trade confused me, and sort of my question to you would be, would you have made that trade to give away Minkah Fitzpatrick for Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey? Because I'd argue that Minkah Fitzpatrick is a much better player. And you mentioned the defensive struggles. I wonder whether that would be happening if Minkah Fitzpatrick was still on the back end for you.
Well, it was. That's the thing. Minkah Fitzpatrick last season, I think, had a big regression. And I do think was part of the issues that we were having last year. It's just the problem is early on, it doesn't seem like those communication issues have exactly been cleared up. It was a surprising trade. It's not something that we do very often. But I had been critical of Minkah, and I kind of saw where we were coming from it with it from, and to be able to pick up Jonnu Smith on the back of it was pretty good going as well. I thought if it was just Ramsey and Minkah in the picks, I might be a little bit more like on the fence about it. But I thought the addition of Jonnu in part of that trade helped it. It was a very unusual trade, and it was quite shocking to see Minkah go out the door despite some of the criticisms. But ultimately, I mean, Jalen Ramsey has probably been one of our better defensive players over the last, particularly against the Jets. I mean, he shows up clutch there, and he gets beat on a crosser last week against Cooper Kupp. But I mean, again, the character of Jalen Ramsey, he's a bit of a prick. But he's ours now, so it's absolutely fine for us. But yeah, I'm not majorly sad to see Minkah go, and I do think the trade ultimately was probably the right move.
There's been some lot of rumblings over the last couple of weeks regarding of your inability to run the ball, and it's been very well documented. The Steelers are struggling to run the football. They struggled against the Jets. They struggled against Seattle. Is that a cause for concern for you?
Somewhat. I still think Jaylen Warren. I mean, the issue last week was Jaylen Warren's big 50-odd yard run came technically off a pass. So, it's not going into the rushing stats there. But, I mean, that man broke 5 tackles and should have got a touchdown at the end of it. It was absolutely unbelievable. I have full confidence in Jaylen Warren. I just... The issue kind of lies with the line in front of us as well. I mean, the interior is not looking great. Isaac Seumalo seems to just have massively regressed. I don't really know what's happened there. Mason McCormick hasn't looked as sharp as he did in his rookie season last year. Even Zach Frazier hasn't looked as great, but I mean, I still think he probably looks one of the better people on this line. And then, you talk about the tackles. I mean, Broderick Jones had an awful first week and an okay second week, and Troy Fortano had an okay first week and a horrible second week. So we can't seem to get the balance there between those two. And obviously, Broderick Jones is kind of on borrowed time in a lot of Steelers fans' eyes. So we'll see about that. But I mean, that's not going to help your run game at all. And like Caleb Johnson is just not getting any touches. And now after that, Howler, let's see how many touches he gets for the rest of the season. I know it was a kick return. Why he's on kick returns in the first place is a whole nother question. That's just ridiculous. But Kenny Gainwell has not. He's done okay, but he hasn't really shown up as much as we maybe thought he could have. But as long as Jaylen Warren is in there, I'm still kind of confident that it will grow. But the line just needs to get itself together before we can get any real kind of purchase on that.
What are your thoughts of our QB, of Drake Maye? Before I let you answer the question, whilst I was listening to your pod earlier today, I don't think it was you. Someone on your pod made a very incredibly bad insult to Drake Maye. So, Kieron, if you hadn't heard it, you must have seen it on the group chat. If you haven't, I'll just relay this onto the audience right now. Whoever it was on your pod basically said Drake Maye isn't even peak Jimmy Garoppolo. That is insulting. But the counteract I'll have on that is if Jimmy Garoppolo had the legs and the wheels like Drake Maye had, he probably would have won the Super Bowl.
And the arm talent.
And the arm talent. He would have won the Super Bowl with the San Francisco 49ers first time round.
If I remember,
he would have hit Emmanuel Sanders on that go route.
If I remember correctly, I think that was the Patriots fan that said that as well. So I don't even think that was one of our guys.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Gow, you've got a lot to answer for there. Now, listen, I wasn't a big fan of Drake Maye coming out of college, but I will say that I was very impressed with his rookie season. I do think you have yourself a potential franchise guy here. I think he looked great last week against Miami. Near perfect. Just absolutely slinging the rock and just looked absolutely brilliant. So I do think you've got a very good QB on your hands now. I think I just didn't feel when I was looking at the college tape and him coming out, I didn't feel like he was the guy who could instill confidence in a team and be like a full, the superstar that a team needs. But I think he has all the capabilities to do that. It's just obviously he came out of a very strong class. It's looking 50-50 so far. I mean, Jaden Daniels obviously looking electric, but Caleb Williams not so. But I do think Drake Maye has gotten off to a very, very good start with New England.
And just I just want to touch on, obviously we spoke about the running game as well. So Karl mentioned the frustrations with running the ball, but equally on the other side of that, you guys in particular have really struggled against fast running backs. Now, I'm pretty sure in the first 2 weeks of the season, the likes of Braylon Allen and Zach Charbonnet, the power backs, have been shut down pretty well. But Kenny Walker and Breece Hall, those guys with a bit of juice, have really caused you problems. So I guess one thing that we might be looking at in this matchup would be, does Ramondre Stevenson perhaps not get as much joy, but this is the Travion Henderson breakout? How much does that, could that be a factor, do you think, based on what you've seen in the first 2 weeks?
That terrifies me because Travion Henderson is a fantastic back. And as you say, he could well be that is the case. We've got this weird boom or bust run defense at the moment, where I think we're kind of topping 0 yard or loss of yards running games, but then running plays, and then like near bottom in yards given up on the run. So it's this weird, very weird all or nothing defense that we seem to have as a run defense at the moment. And yeah, I mean, Trayvon Henderson with the skills he has, like, just absolutely electric out of college. And yeah, I think I'm very worried about what he could do. I think he's a proper X factor in this for the Patriots.
And just on to May for a second as well, like we spoke last week, and this is something we've not been used to very much, is that against Miami last week, where he looked fantastic, as you said, we would agree, but that was the lowest pressure rate he's faced in his career, 19% of dropbacks under pressure. Well, last year it was, I swear, like it was about 80%. I mean, our line got swarmed last year.
We had no line. We had no line. You might as well put Tracer paper in front of Drake May.
Yeah. So obviously, the line held up very well against Miami. Their front is not amazing, but it's not too bad. I guess, how much of a difference could that be? Because TJ Watt will be by far the best pass rusher he's faced so far. And obviously you guys have other guys in your front seven that can cause problems too. So, I guess, will the game plan from the Steelers perspective be try to get after him and try and frazzle him a little bit?
I think it will. I feel like that is the kind of general game plan is in overall is just to get TJ involved as much as possible. And obviously now with the hindrance of no Highsmith on the other side, I think there'll be a lot of focus on TJ. So this is why I'm kind of expecting, a possible big Nick Herbig game here, because he is just a mini TJ. He's able to, he has some beautiful pass rush moves on him and is able to get pressures in. So if he can really shine in this and use those tiny arms to his to great effect, then hopefully we'll get some of
the dinosaurs, perhaps Herbig against Will Campbell.
Exactly, yeah, proper T-Rex matchup there. But so is Morgan Moses? I know he was questionable. Is he?
Still, I think he's questionable. I would imagine he might play. I'd imagine because TJ Watt tends to line up as a left-sided edge rusher, doesn't he? He plays over the right tackle primarily. So I was going to ask, would you expect him to be moved about? But maybe not. But I would expect if he is playing against Morgan Moses and Morgan Moses is carrying a little bit of a knock, he's probably going to see a lot of double teams on that side. And they'll leave Will Campbell one-on-one with Nick Herbig if that's the case.
Absolutely.
Just to clarify, Morgan Moses off the injury report did have a full practice today. So he's off the injury report. So it looks like our starting line will be our starting line.
There you go. Well, then kind of another potential X factor in this is our first round draft pick, Derek Harmon, who is questionable, but has been returning to practice and could very well make his first start in this game. Our run defense in particular really needs this guy, and absolute run stuffing monster in college. So really hoping that he can shine it. But then, hopefully, then if we're trying to get so much pressure on May, then hopefully that boosts the likes of Benton and Cam Hayward to be able to really do what they sort of do best as well. We got to Darnold a lot last week, but just didn't really finish anything off, and that was the key. Even Patrick Queen was like face to face with him, and Darnold just does a lovely spin move and gets it out in the flat. So, bothering Drake Maye is going to be a massive priority, but again, it's just a case of whether we're able to do it, because this pass rush, as I say, just hasn't been able to get home as well as we'd like.
I will admit though that particular interior matchup does worry me a little bit. Now, Jared Wilson is obviously a third-round rookie, and we've got Garrett Bradbury at center. Both of them played really well in the first, the last game. In fact, I think Garrett Bradbury is the number one pass blocking center at the moment. But we all know that that's not going to last, because his history with the Vikings suggests that he does struggle in one-on-one pass protection. And I feel like the two teams we've faced so far don't exactly have the strongest interior defensive line, but this is by far the best matchup so far that they would have faced. And that worries me a little bit, that we might that might be an area where we might be a little bit vulnerable, because I don't think Bradbury's an elite pass blocking centre, and Wilson is still a 3rd round rookie after all. So I think that might be an area where it might be something we need to keep an eye on.
I really hope that's the case, but I mean, paper is one thing, but we're just not we've not showed up really at all in the first 2 weeks, and I kind of worry about how bad that's going to continue on. So hopefully this is a bounce back for us, and hopefully you're right, but it remains to be seen at the moment. And I'm just a little bit worried it's not going to come off as well as we want.
Tomlin goes into this game against the Patriots as a coach at 3-10. Now, all those losses were probably or if not all of them, or when Brady was still with us. I think
Bailey Zappi game.
Worst games ever.
That was a shower shit. That was.
To be fair, we had Trubisky, so yeah.
As I said, it was a shower shit. Right. That's going to play on. That might play on Tomlin's mind, considering he's gone. The Patriots has always been like his kryptonite. In a way, the one team it's always one team where a head coach struggles so badly to try to get a win. If I had to give a prime example, Belichick's worst one was probably Seattle. It would be Seattle or Baltimore. It'll be one of those two teams he struggled with. So is this another case for Tomlin? But it's under a brand new ownership, new quarterback. So you never know. You never know what could happen, but the history's not on your side regarding of Tomlin's record against us.
No, that's not ideal. And I mean the Tomlin out crowd has been louder than probably ever before after this week. I'm not necessarily. I'm not part of that crowd. I'll be honest yet. But I mean, it's getting more difficult to defend Tomlin when you see some of the play calling, some of the conservative play calling that he's been doing, some of the decision making he's been having, and just the way, just some of the decisions are quite baffling that he's been putting out there, and it just gets more and more difficult to defend him. But he'll come into this. He's a 3-10 record. He's going to want to bounce back off a rough week. He is an excellent man manager still. He's still a guy who can inspire you. You still want to run through a brick wall for him, but that brick wall is getting more and more bricks as it goes on. So it could get a lot tougher to break through. So, hope for his sake he can turn it around, because, I love Mike Tomlin. The history of Tomlin has been fantastic up to a point. But is it now just starting to? Is it a little bit like Arsene Wenger's last few years at Arsenal, shall we say, where it's possibly taking a little bit of the shine off of the whole thing?
What was it? You've been to the playoff six. You've been the last 6 times you've been to the playoffs. You've been bounced out of the first round. You're slowly hitting towards Houston Oilers territory, where they didn't quite get it over the hump in the end. Sure. When you're stuck in this, I'm not going to say stuck in the rut. If you're making the postseason and you're going above 500, that's all well and dandy. But if there's no change and there's no progression afterwards, would you rather be stuck in that position, or would you rather just say, we can't go any further, let's just restart the whole thing again?
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because you don't want to lose, and having these we've only had one 9-8 record, but having these 10-7, 9-7 when there was the less extra game, it's nice, but it ultimately is fruitless at the end of the day. So if we go, it would be interesting to see exactly what would happen with this team if we did go 4 wins, 5 wins. I really don't know what would change, because we've just never done that, and we never had to have that talk with Tomlin about this has been a really shoddy 4-win, 5-win season. We've really got to consider this. Every season he's just managed to push us over 500, but just never has gotten us really any further since 2016 or whatever it was last time we won a 5 game. So yeah, it's a difficult one, just mainly because we just don't know the scenario and what exactly would happen. But yeah, I don't want to see this team lose. Like I've never been a tanking fan at all. I've never wanted to do that. We'll just work around the way we best we can. Baltimore took Lamar Jackson with the 32nd overall pick. These QBs don't need to be taken top 10 all the time. So it's just a case of probably drafting better. But we'll see. I don't hold out great hope that it will change much this season so far.
Well, I get where you're coming from in terms of like the noise around Tomlin, because ultimately, we've had something similar, having Belichick for so many years and all the success that we had. But like, as much as the fan base would adore him for everything that he did for the franchise, those last few years were inexcusable, and he made a lot of mistakes. The drafting was horrendous. The personnel decisions, cutting and trading good players. Like, he was a reason why we sent into a spiral, really. So I kind of get that aspect. There comes a point, doesn't there, where you kind of have to put that sentiment to one side and think, what is the best for the team? But I guess the way I look at it from the outside is like, Tomlin I think he's still an elite head coach, but I've never really been much of a fan of Arthur Smith. And I kind of think that, like, based on his history, you could probably have a better offensive coordinator in there. But that's just my personal opinion.
Well, no, that's fair. And I mean, I thought this, I think the last couple of weeks have shown some improvement in Arthur Smith's offensive play calling. I mean, we didn't put the points on the board last week, but there was still, some differences, some changes, some actual professional looking offense that we've not seen since Ben was there. We've gone through. This is the problem. We've gone through some dross. Matt Canada, horrible appointment that was.
Yeah,
absolutely horrendous. Randy Fichtner before him was just so bad. So it's welcoming to see some actual, it feels like NFL offense being run by the Steelers for once, as opposed to just relying on a defense. And thank God we're not relying on a defense, it seems. But yeah, obviously it wasn't great last week. But I'm willing to give Arthur Smith. It took a season to kind of get to grips with everything. Probably didn't have the personnel he necessarily wanted, Russell Wilson. But with Aaron now and with the stacked tight end room that he's got and trying to play his way, I think I'm willing to give him a chance with this offense, because I do think he might be able to do some good things. Just God, don't make him a head coach, because we know how badly that goes. I'm definitely willing to give him a chance as OC for a little while.
I think what perplexes me, confuses me the most, is that when he was with Atlanta and with Tennessee, everyone used to say Arthur Smith hates tight ends. Like, he never factors them in. And now you guys are playing more 12 personnel than any other team in the league. Like, you're running exclusively 2 receiver sets. And it's like he's completely deviated from everything he's normally ran as an offense. So, do you think that's something that he's opted to do because of the personnel? Because I guess outside of Metcalf, the receiver room isn't exactly overly deep, is it?
No, exactly. Karl Pitts must have some photos of Arthur Smith. I'm almost certain of it. But yeah, no, it is odd. But I mean, yeah, you look at the tight ends that we do have as well. I mean, Muth has been a stalwart for so long, even if he's not looking as great over the first couple of weeks. You bring in a guy like Jonnu Smith, who Arthur Smith loves, and you've got Darnell Washington, who's an absolute mountain there. It's a stacked room, but I don't really know. I guess it's just the identity of what he wants to do is just a strong run game, strong interior, something for, I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers' air yards. Like, it was 2.8 yards attempted, I think it was last week, which is 35th. There's only 32 teams and he was 35th in air yards. How's that possible? So it's all these kind of just trying to find your tight end in short spaces here. But and as you say, Metcalf is clear wide receiver number one. I do like some of the wide receiver options we do have. I do think Calvin Austin has definitely made his case for being wide receiver too. I do like what he brings. His speed is fantastic. I mean, he mossed a guy in week one, and he's Diddy. He's only 4 foot tall, and he's mossing a guy. It's unbelievable. But yeah, I do like the upside that he brings, and yeah, just outside of that, we haven't seen Roman Wilson really, and Scotty Miller's not going to set the world alight. So yeah, there is a heavy reliance on a talented tight end room, but I just wish we'd find Washington in the end zone more. But I think that's, we got him on a 2-pointer last week, but that's all we've really seen out of that. So, I'd like to see more. I'd like to see it more spread out a little bit in terms of like getting a bit more outside the numbers as well. But yeah, we'll see how it progresses. As I say, it's only week 2, so we'll see if there's any more progression in that respect.
I think an area where we spoke about this on our podcast over the last couple of weeks, an area where we've really struggled in particular is over the middle of the field. We've also had a problem with missed tackles, particularly from our linebackers. And we seem to be exploiting the space in between the linebackers and the secondary. But Christian Gonzalez is going to be back this week by all accounts, which is a huge, huge leg up for us because he has been a huge, huge miss for us. So I guess like my next question would be, with Gonzo back, and our ability to probably maybe even double DK Metcalf now, what do you think your offensive game plan will be, obviously, now that we've got our best defensive player back?
I guess, do I have faith in us really kind of revolving a game plan around, or are we just going to say we're going to try and run the ball? It's probably not going to work. So then, Aaron, you're going to have to try and get us out of this jam. We will. As you say, the middle of the field is also an issue for us as well. So I think those charts are definitely just going to stay within the hashes quite a lot in this one. Hopefully it's a big move, Jonnu Smith game, big Darnell game. He's just exploiting those middle. I mean, it was weird last week. So Rodgers hit Metcalf on a very simple slant for 10 yards, automatic first down. And we were cheering like we'd won the Super Bowl because it was just like, we haven't seen this in so long. Just competent NFL offense. Oh my God. More of that basically is what we kind of need to do. But obviously, yeah, if Metcalf's doubled up, I'd like to see a lot more of Roman Wilson getting involved and actually getting some targets his way. I do think there's some unlocked potential there with him. We'll see how much of an impact Calvin Austin can have in that as well. Both could, really exploit the middle of the field potentially if Metcalf's being doubled, because Metcalf's definitely, you're out of the numbers, big sideline catch kind of guy. So, I would hope that would be the game plan, is to kind of exploit that weakness in the middle, because Lord knows we know all about it. But do I trust that we will try and deviate away from what we usually do? We'll see.
I think you'd be feeling a lot better if Gonzalez wasn't playing.
Yes, I would.
I think he has been a big miss. I mean, we're just speculating that it might be doubled up on DK, but I think Gonzalez is definitely good enough to go 1-on-1 and on an island against DK Metcalf and just see what happens. I'd imagine, Karl, you might. I don't know where you stand on this, but imagine Marcus Jones might be on Calvin Austin just to match up speed for speed. But
yep,
I
think you're going to see us play now. I think Gonzo is going to play, but the note of caution will be, I think it'll only be around 50. Probably around about 15 to 20 snaps, maybe, in the first half. And then if he's still okay, then I think he'll be going back out there for the second half again. All I would do, if I'm monitoring Gonzo right now, is that if he does well, cool, it's fine. The minute any slight little bit of tightness appears in the hamstring, I'm lynching you off. You're not getting back on that field. Not till next week against Carolina. Because he's our star corner, and we've direly missed him. We're ranked dead last in the NFL when it comes to passing, when it comes to giving up on passing yards. We so desperately need him. Yet we've paid Carlton Davis this money, beg your pardon, and he hasn't exactly pulled up any trees. And I think we're relying on Gonzo so much, which is quite concerning. But we have got 2 rookie safeties, so it would help to have Gonzo on the other side to actually have a bit of leadership. Because if we are going to try and bracket DK Metcalf, then obviously you're going to lead. It's going to lead a third receiver. It's going to lead a tight end open. It's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, that's why I think the middle of the field is probably where we're going to see a lot of the work. I mean, yeah, obviously Jalen Hawkins and Craig Woodson at safety. I think they're going to have their work cut out to try and defend them tight ends that you guys have got, because, like you said, that's a good tight end room. We might not have seen the best of Jonnu Smith when he was with us, but we didn't utilize him in the right way. We sort of had him doing some really odd stuff, but that was Matt Patricia's offense for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, Johnny's, obviously you got the touchdown in week 1 and, kind of a quiet week last week. But obviously, you're trying to spread the ball out between these 3 tight ends. Not Connor Hayward. I don't kind of consider him a proper tight end. It's difficult, obviously, to, spread the ball out between those 3 and kind of get each of them working in a game. But yeah, hopefully this will be more of a Jonnu game. And as I say, if we can get Darnell Washington involved in more ways, because who's stopping that guy from like getting one of these high balls? Really, like he's an absolute mountain of a man. Yeah,
I guess Karl Marte-Mapu probably is the biggest safety with linebacker hybrid we've got. So
basically,
he probably would be, that might be his job if Washington's on the field. But no, I guess next question mark would kind of be how are, tapping into like kind of the Steelers network, if you like, how are Steelers fans feeling towards this game and us as an opponent? We asked this to our Dolphins guest last week. So just, how are we viewed by Steelers fans in kind of the wider group?
I think it's a little bit similar to, I feel like we think this is going to be close. It's tough because I kind of see this going three ways, but I definitely don't see it going a 4th way. So I oversee it being, you absolutely blow us out. We stink on defense still, and it's going to be an absolute rough ride all the way. You're going to win a narrow one, or we're going to win a narrow one. The only thing I can guarantee is that we're not going to blow this away, because that's just not what we do, and it's frustrating. I'd love to see a win where I can just sit back, relax, and just enjoy the rest of the 4th quarter. But it just never happens. I can almost guarantee you that's not going to happen. But I do think that there is, it's been a rough couple of years for the Patriots, but I do think now there's a talk of, okay, this team's starting to build. So Mike Vrabel is a very good coach, and I think he can get the very best out of these players. So you've got a fearsome running back duo. You've got a young quarterback that's still looking pretty solid and could well be. You've got a quarterback that we would very much like. A young quarterback that has a lot of promise. The receiving options are what they are, but they're not horrible. I mean, Boutte is all right, but it's
Boutte's
not
a big favorite on this podcast, just to let you know.
I think you're kind of in this weird, because I fully expected you to blow out the Raiders, and that didn't happen. But then you bounce back really well against Miami. You've kind of done the reverse of what we've done over the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, we said we said we'll beat the Raiders, but we lose to the Dolphins because we are notoriously bad when we go down to Miami, and roles reversed. So our 10-7 record is still on.
So is ours apparently. I don't know about that, but that's just why I think this will be a close one, because I think this is 2 franchises in different spots, but kind of in the same spot as well, if you know what I mean. So it's like we've kind of got a young Patriots team that's kind of trying to rebuild and regrow, and then you've got this Steelers team that's almost sort of being stubborn, but with a fair few changes in there as well, a fair few veteran changes in there. An interesting clash, but I do think there's a kind of similar ground of expectation and of level there. So I'm kind of on the fence I'm kind of on the side of the fence of I think you will win this game. I'm if I had to put money on it, I would probably say that the Patriots are gonna win this one. Just because I'm so very concerned about what our defense is going to be like, and if it doesn't show up, we're in big trouble. So, that's kind of where I see the Patriots now. I think it's kind of a shared view across the Steelers. You know, it's been a fierce rivalry in the past, and we still try and hold on to that for as much as possible. But it's still the Sky game, so there's still something there, isn't there? So.
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree with you. I think this will be a really close game. The bookies are pricing you at -1.5 favorites, so you are the favorites on the spread. I thought it might be a little bit closer in terms of fractional betting odds. You are 8-11, so you are the favorites. I thought you might be a little bit closer to even money, and it'd be very, very even, but. Bookies seeming to favour you guys at the moment, which is interesting, obviously, off the back of what you just said there. So, yeah, you kind of maybe expect the lines to be a bit closer than that. But 1.5, I could see why it'd be within. I certainly think this game will be within a few points at most. I could see, this coming down to a field goal potentially.
Mm. Which fills me with hope, because that's about the only good thing we have going for us.
Yeah, you certainly beat us in the kicker department. That's for sure.
Always helps to have the best kicker in the league, but we should just kind of rubbed off on the other players. But there you go.
That's one thing we've got to look out for. Make sure the Borglass doesn't shank any PATs in this game. It will just be absolutely. As always with us, we're one step forward, 2 steps back. Okay, let's get into our predictions. Mark, you're our guest of honor. You get to go. You always get to go first. So, Patriots Steelers. What have you got?
Okay, I'm going to go for the Patriots. I am going to lay my cards down here. I'm going to go for the Patriots. Are we covering the spread here? Are we predicting exact scores?
No, just a simple score.
Just a simple score. Okay. I'm gonna put some kind of credence on our defense, but I'm not going to put a massive amount. So I'm going to go with the Patriots 24, Steelers 21. I think it will come down to a field goal, and I think you'll just edge it.
Okay, Kieron.
Yeah, it's a tough one. We badly need a home win. Gillette has been starved of a home win. I know we had the Buffalo one last year with Joe Milton, but that doesn't count. That was Buffalo under 18s as far as I'm concerned. That was, and we didn't even want to win that game in the first place. So they badly need a home win. Our record at home has been awful. Also, Bill Parcells and Julian Edelman are being inducted into the Hall of Fame at this game at the weekend. So I think there's going to be a real good vibe around the place, and I think we'll be really up for it. In my opinion, this is one of the best AFC matchups. This is an all-time, in terms of franchises, an all-time classic AFC matchup. This is a proper AFC clash going back so many years. Both teams are so historic. So I always love playing the Steelers. I am going to go with us by a field goal, 20-17.
20-17. Okay. I will also be taking the Patriots, but I've got a suspicious feeling it's going to be like the same game it was last week. It's going to be heart attack football. So give me the Patriots win 30-27.
All 3 points. Yeah.
Karl described our win last week as having all the drugs. So I don't know. It's might be an overdose at this rate if we have that again.
It's been all the illegal drugs you can think of. It's like, we're having a good time. No, my emotions are like there. Anyway,
that was kind of week one for us. That Jets game felt like all the drugs, and then last week just felt like being spoon-fed heroin for an hour. It was like,
No, because week one's always a little bit
wild, isn't it? Yeah.
Week one's always a bit wild, so you don't know what you're going to end up getting with teams. So it's always a little bit weird. I think usually with the first 4 weeks, it's still the NFL is still quite weird. I think after that, then you start seeing which team is flying and which one's just sinking to the bottom of the ship, bottom to the sea. But anyway, Okay, we'll move into now our Blazing 6. So if you don't know, so basically I've got 6 fixtures up here. I've got the spreads up on my second screen on here. We'll go through each one of them, and it's down to you to either predict which one covers and which one takes the points. So we're going to first start off with the backup quarterback bowl in the Cincinnati Bengals at the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are minus 3-point favorites. Mark, we'll start with you first.
Oh, minus 3-point favorites for Carson Wentz. Jeez. Okay. That one's tricky. I mean, since he still don't have any sort of defense, ish.
Well,
that's a tricky because we don't know what Carson Wentz is. At least we kind of know what Jake Browning is, but we don't really we don't know what this iteration of Carson Wentz is going to bring forth to us. But ultimately, I'm going to take the Vikings to take the points in here. Yeah,
Vikings cover. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, Kieron.
Yeah, I'm also going to take the Vikings to cover. Jake Browning, despite leading the comeback last week, still threw 3 picks. The game's in Minnesota. I feel like Brian Flores' defense is going to eat him alive, especially with that line that he got in front of him as well. I feel like this is going to be carnage. So, I think the Vikings will win by more than 3 points, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if they win by double digits, personally.
Okay. Yeah, I've got Vikings to cover as well. I just think Jake Brown is good as a backup, but I think Kevin O'Connell, he's a very good head coach. He's a quarterback whisperer. And I think he has the capability of stopping Carson Wentz from doing absolute things. So, I'm taking the Vikings in this one. Okay. This is going to be a real dogfight, this one. Even though it's not really dogs that's in this. It's Rams at Eagles. Minus 3-point. Eagles are favored by.
Ooh, that one's tricky.
Kieron, we'll start with you.
Yeah, that is tricky. I don't think either team has looked overly impressive, to be honest, so far. Despite getting wins, I don't think either team has set the world alight. But the game's in Philly, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna go with Philly at home to cover.
Philly to cover, okay.
I am as well, but I'm not majorly confident. I do really like this Rams defense. It's a young, hungry defense that's really done well with no Aaron Donald in there now. So, really, really like what McVay's done there. But ultimately, I mean, the tush push is here to stay, for better or worse. Let's go Eagles cover on this one as well. I agree.
Yeah, I think Eagles are going to cover this as well. Stafford is 0-2 against the Eagles since he's been a Ram. I think that kind of just says it all, really. Okay. The New Jersey Jets. Yes, we will play this one as New Jersey. New Jersey Jets against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucks are minus 6.5-point favorite.
Yeah, Bucks are covering. I don't like this. I really like what the Bucks are doing, to be honest. And it looks like Emeka Egbuka is going to play this one. So again, I mean, he's had a great start, and I really like what Baker's doing with this Bucks team. Could be a very sneaky playoff run team. These guys. I mean, they fell short to the Commanders last year, but really, really like what they've got in that whole team. I think they've just built it really well. So, I don't see a chance for the Jets here. Bucks cover.
I've got the Bucks stack in my fantasy league. I've got Mayfield and Egbuka. So I'm going Bucks to cover. Screw the Jets. Kieron,
how much are the Browns regretting that decision to let Baker Mayfield go now? This was talked about.
How many times did the Browns regret anything?
Yeah, honestly, I do feel like, obviously, the Bucks are at home, aren't they? Is that right?
Yeah. And the Jets quarterback is Tyrod Taylor.
Exactly. Now, if this was Justin Fields and maybe in New York, I'd be a little bit more reserved because Baker Mayfield isn't going to have an offensive line this game, and I feel like he would get eaten alive. But being in Tampa and against Tyrod Taylor, I can't see anything else than the Bucs covering this. Like they'll blow them out, even with Baker probably getting hit 20 times a game.
Okay. Next up on the so far, it's all 3 for 3, and we've all chosen the same. So someone's got to change something or other. Hopefully this game well. Denver at the LA Chargers. Chargers are minus 3-point favorites.
Yeah, I mean Denver obviously lost last week. Didn't look particularly great against the Colts as well. I don't know what's going on with the Colts at the moment, but I like this Chargers team, man. I think they've started really well. I think Herbert's got into a really nice rhythm. You know, call it boring. Yeah, you say Chargers are 3-point favorites in this. Yeah, I'm going to go Chargers. So, call me boring, but Chargers are covering this. I think this team is looking really, really sharp. And I'm just a little bit worried about. Yeah, I'm just really worried about. Denver.
Okay, Kieron.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think I'll go Chargers to cover. I think the line had been a little bit bigger. I'd have gone Denver to cover the spread, but maybe still lose. But 3 points just doesn't seem a lot, does it? So
no.
Yeah, I'm going to go Chargers.
Well, I'm going to go against you lot. I think the Chargers are going to win, but I think Denver covers. I think it's going to be that tight.
Ooh.
I think it's going to be that tight, so I'm going to go a little bit different on that one. Okay. I call this the game for all the wrong reasons. Cowboys at Bears. Cowboys are on the road, and they are minus 1-point favorites.
Oh, does anyone have to win this?
They could tie it. Oh no, they got the most automatic kicker in the NFL in Bradley Norbury.
Second, but oh man, 1.5 point. I mean, the Bears are just. You feel like Ben Johnson's got to turn them around at some point, right? But then hasn't everyone tried to turn the Bears around for the last however many years?
I'm just saying Ben Johnson's year to turn it around. I think he's still trying to work out what kind of squad he has. I think this is more Caleb Williams' season where he's got to start proving that, this is why we've got you first overall pick. But
exactly. Anyway. And DeAndre Swift might not be playing in this.
The Bears have got a ton of injuries. Like
they have.
William Johnson is out. Like they're missing like 5 starters from this game. So that's pretty brutal.
Yeah. You know what, Cowboys covering this. Yeah, I think it could be a rough few weeks for the Bears.
No point of covering. Is it gonna? It looks like because it's -1.
Oh, -1. Yeah. Then they're winning this.
So Dallas, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
God, it's only -1. It feels like it should be.
Yeah. Kieron?
Yeah, same. I know it's boring and it's not going to do very well for our game, but yeah, they're going to cover. Right. I also think this game is one where it might go over the point spread because I feel like this could be a shootout. We saw what Dallas done last week with the Giants, and if Chicago click at home, I feel like this game could be really high scoring. So,
okay. The last game on the docket, I've left the best till last. Detroit at Baltimore.
Ooh, what a game.
Baltimore minus 4.5 point favorite.
Now this one, I think this could be. I think this. I do think the Ravens are strong. I do think they're. I mean, I predicted them to win the whole thing this season on our pod. So, as much as I hate to say it, but
hang on. You predicted a division rival to win the.
On paper,
I hope you diagnosed yourself in bleach afterwards.
Oh no, it was horrible to do. It was horrible. At least I'm not picking the Bengals or the Browns to do it. God, but yeah, I have some modicum of respect for the Ravens. I think this is one where Detroit loses but covers the spread. I think it's going to be real close. This is going to be a very close, very tight game. Baltimore will turn up for 3 quarters and then possibly let Detroit back in it. But I think we'll just about just about get away with it, but I do think
so. You got Detroit covering, but Baltimore winning.
Yes, yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
Real tight.
Well, I've got the same as well. I think this is going to be less than 4 points anyway. Kieron?
Yeah, another tough one. It's interesting that Mark said he predicted the Ravens win the Super Bowl, because I famously predicted last season on our podcast that the Ravens will never win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson because he's the biggest choke in big games ever. So, so that's interesting. I when you first read it out, Karl, my first thought was Lions to cover, because I think the Lions could win this game, but I've got to go different to Mark on at least one, haven't I? I think if we go through the same along, it's not doing this game very good. So I'll take Baltimore to cover, as much as it pains me to take Lamar Jackson to win a big game like this, because he normally just shits the bed when he tries to throw the ball in it too often in a game. So,
okay. All right.
Well, it could be worse. I could have picked Josh Allen to win the Super Bowl, and then you would have really hated me. But there you go.
Our hands are tied when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. We ain't got no chance. I mean, unless we go to their backyard and beat them in Sunday Night Football in a couple of weeks' time, then we will be making some noise. But don't venture us on that. Mark, thank you so much for coming on, mate. It is much appreciated. Everyone, his link for his Twitter account is down in the description below. So too is the UK Steelers pod link. So make sure you go check them out. What have you and the pod got coming up in the next week or so?
Well, obviously the big one next week is looking forward to the Ireland game. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. And then obviously, the big meetup on that Sunday with a few of us and a lot of the UK Pittsburgh fans from the Facebook group, all meeting up there for those who can't make it over to Ireland. Big meetup in Birmingham, but obviously gutted not to be going to Ireland, but it will be great to be amongst Steeler fans anyway that day. So that's obviously a big thing for us. And every week, talking about each game. Obviously the bye week coming up just after that, so I'm sure we'll have some interesting stuff there. We're constantly monitoring college stuff out there as well at the moment, especially with this kind of QB situation potentially going on. So we've kind of got close eyes on that, and we're kind of monitoring all that. But that's the grand things on there. So as I say, follow the pod and give us a shout out, and go Steelers.
quick question for you, Mark. Obviously, just we don't know what draft position you're going to end up with, but early. I guess not prediction, but if you were in the war room come next May, which QB are you taking if you want one?
Right now, at this very point, I have two names in mind, depending on obviously where they fall here: Lenoris Sellers or John Mateer. They are my two guys right now. Nussmeier's a slight outside chance on here, but I think
he's going number one. I think
he could well do. And he started all right, not too bad. I think Mateer has started like a house on fire. I think he's been brilliant. I think he's going to work his way up draft boards. And I do think ultimately, while Sellers has had a bit of an up and down start and with a bit of an injury concern, even if he might not even come out this year, he might come out in 2027. But if he does come out this year, I still think he has all the tools to be an excellent quarterback in the NFL. So I'd be rooting hard for him as well. We're not taking Nico Iamaleava. I've just seen the comment Tom's left in the thing there. No, do not want Nico Iamaleava. Thank you very much.
Who is he played for? Sorry,
he's the one that transferred.
He's transferred for a lot of money and possibly the worst transfer in history. So they're the two ones that I've kind of got my biggest eye on at the moment, early doors.
You don't want to stay local and go with Drew Aller?
I need to see more. I need to see him in the big games this year, because that's where he tends to really, shit the bed. So, we need to see a little bit more of what Aller can do under the bright lights before I can really do that. And I mean, Klubnik, as much as I quite liked Klubnik coming into this season, he's really dropped off a cliff, and I don't think he's going to be anywhere near the first round at the rate he's going.
Again, Mark, thank you for coming on. Much appreciated. Kieron, as always, Thank you for being my co-host. It's an honor as always. Thank you to everyone that's been watching. Thank you to everyone that's been listening. Make sure you smash the like button on the way out. You Gronk spike the subscribe button. Tell all your friends. Follow us on social media platforms. And make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify and Apple. And as well, give the UK Steelers podcast a shout out. Give them a like. Make sure you subscribe. Go and follow them on their podcast. They're doing amazing stuff. And they're a great bunch of lads. They're very, I'll say you're a little off the cuff, shall we say. But, that's... that if you have excitement entertainment podcast, people will listen to you more. So it's all good in that. So thank you, Mark, as always. We'll be back again on Tuesday night for the review of the Steelers game. Let's hope we can go to 2-1. For now, good night. God bless. Go Patriots. Let's go.